Islamic, and European. They'll believe anything about Africa as long as it sounds exotic. Obina laughed too, but it felt hollow. Inside him, a foggy numbness began to settle, a dulling confusion that left him constantly questioning his surroundings. The Turkey he imagined from abroad, where people danced in warm hospitality, now felt like a puzzle of polite racism and unreadable stares. He was navigating meanings hidden beneath accents and smiles that did not always mean welcome. He applied everywhere: waiter, dishwasher, grocery packer, hostel receptionist, cashier at SOK, and waited. Nothing came. He blamed himself. He must be doing something wrong. Maybe his Turkish wasn't good enough. Maybe it was his accent. Maybe it was his skin. Autumn came, cold and gray, with sharp winds that felt personal. His meager savings began to drain. Even the cheapest jacket at the local bazaar seemed absurdly expensive. Transport fares chipped at his wallet daily. Buying groceries at SOK became a ritual of self-control. He would watch the digital screen climb as each item beeped through, always looking for in the rim, product on discounts. He would pick Tamam, Yeter. He would quickly, that's enough, and then he would put the rest back. The worst were the school bills. Letters came in Turkish from the university, always with some phrase bolded in red and capital letters. Odeme, Yapil Masa, Yapil Mazza, Kedin Names, Donduru Lancaster. Your record will be frozen until payment is made. It was not the words, but the capitalization that frightened him. Obina didn't imagine being arrested for unpaid tuition. But what did happen? Would they deport him, ban him from registering again? He did not know. When he called the international office, the woman spoke too fast. He caught only half the meaning. When he went in person, she said, "You can speak to Bossa. Maybe they give taxes." But the Bossa never seemed to be there. He started calling his cousin in Canada, hoping for help. Nothing will change, his cousin said over the phone. Just speak to them. Act like you have a plan. But Obina had no plan. He had only the fog, the worry, and a name no one wanted to pronounce.
All right, thank you so much for your reading. So
You're welcome.
now, after this reading, we need to do a few activities to think through what we have read, and we have to ponder through it and see what really is similar about the experience Obina has in Turkey as a foreign student. If you follow the story through, you will understand that Obina wanted to get a job while he's studying, but he couldn't. So he couldn't also afford his school fees. So I know this experience is, all the experiences are something that is general and common to most foreigners and foreign students in abroad. So without further ado, I want us to jot through these activities on a sheet of paper. If you can get a sheet of paper, it will be a very good thing. So, and the activity says, your mind is a garden. So in our mind, we all have things that are going through our mind. So that is making us feel discomfort, making it hard for us to relax or focus on whatever we want to do. So the act of this journaling can help us clear our mind. So it could give us a clarity. So it will only take you 1 or 2 minutes to write down whatever comes into your mind. There is no wrong or right answer. So under this seedling thought, just write and what comes through your mind at this time after reading all through what the story of Obina. So I just want you to just get a sheet of paper wherever you are. So I want you to not to see it as work, just settle in and write whatever you feel comes to your mind, even after reading the story, after hearing the story, Obina. So I'll give us just 1 or 2 minutes to do that. Ponder through what comes to your mind and write it down. It's an act of journaling. So this is how to engage the mind. So because at the end of this session, I would also appreciate a screenshot or any written what you have journaled down. There's no wrong or right answer. Nobody will judge you. It's for only research sake. If you don't mind, you can even change your name. So no judging. It's a safe zone here. So, and also under the root priority, I want you to reflect on what you have written. So organize your thoughts into 3 categories. So what are the top things that you want to do that is most important to you? Under the burden ideas, what are the things to think about further? Under the leaves to go, you just write what are the things you want to let go. So as we've read the story of Obina, I know what has happened to Obina has happened in one way or the other to you. The story of looking for a job and not getting job on time, the story of not being able to pay school fees, the story of how to go about getting visa, the story about doing paying for extension of visa and the stress of doing all these things. So there are things to think about and to also journal down. You really want to uh, give yourself a kind of self-help. So this is what we are doing. So I'll give a kind of 1 more minute for this journaling. No right or wrong answer. Just write it down. If you wish, you can send to me. If you wish, you can still hold it. Okay, so let's continue with the other part of the story. We are going to chapter 3 of the story of Obina in foreign land in Hellas age. It's a tale of ascent, aliens, and the elusive Kim Lake. So no right or wrong reading, no right. English is not our first language. So if you also wish to volunteer to read, you can raise your hand and read loud while we listen. So do I have anybody to volunteer to read the chapter 3? So do I have anyone to read with understanding with us? No right or wrong answer. You're free to express yourself. It's a safe zone here. Okay, I will read chapter 3 then. Okay, then. Okay, all right. Please go ahead. I thought
All right.
yeah.
Obina's first winter in Elizig, A Tale of Accents, Aliens, and the Elusive Kinlick. And then there was Melik Hoka, Melik
Ocha,
Oka with a Ocha, Melik
Oja.
Ocha, yeah, Melik Ocha with a beach scarf headscarf tightly fastened, the faint scent of lemon plum hovering around her like a gentle warning, and a clip words that felt like pebbles tossed at Obina's ear. Melik stationed behind the pale green desk in the registrar's office, smiled too widely when Obina arrived after his second semester was nearly done, asking about his kimlik, the Turkish ID card that never seemed to arrive. Merhaba, excuse me, is this the right place for student registration and kimlik assistance? Obina asked cautiously. Evet, but you must go to Gork Idaresi first, she said, overly articulating each word pronounced like it had punched through layers of fog. Obina nodded, assuming she was just being kind. But when he returned later with the required document from Gork Idaresi, Melik repeated slower this time. Did you bring passport copy? Also, letter from your departmental head and from international office. Do you understand? Now, oh no, Obina had only passport copy. He had to go to two different locations again. He could not take taxi. It might be too expensive for him. The school bus takes forever to come, and besides, he has not collected a bus card yet. Even if he would take the bus, he needs to speak to someone from the bus card with the bus card at the bus stop to offer money. At the bus stop, Obina looked out to students who could be approachable. He said to a young, handsome-looking man who seemed to be from Syria, please, do you speak English? The young man blinked. I speak little English. Oh, I am sure you do, he said, but it wasn't a compliment. Nice to meet you. My name is Obina. Please, can I give you cash to help me board a bus? And can you also help with hotspot on your phone? The young man could not help with hotspot and could not help with Wi-Fi. Where exactly are you going? He asked. I need to go to international office and the Faculty of Social Science. What? He asked Turkey Bilion Musun.
Uchebi Bliomuson is a
Bilion
Turkish.
Son? Okay. He asked Turkey Bilion Musun. Obina brought out his phone to navigate Google Translator app. After typing on my Android phone, the guy brought out his iPhone and typed, advised me to walk directly towards the adjacent direction, which could be accessed easily with shortcuts by walking rather than taking a bus. And in that suspended moment, something in Obina shrank. Though fluent, though eloquent, though he had written appeared back home in Nigeria and led heated classroom debates in her eyes. He had become a linguistic novice. He smiled tightly and collected the forms, feeling the skin of his confidence peel. After walking for 20 minutes under the hot sun, he was able to meet the secretary of his department. The woman said to him, the faculty members are in a meeting. You have to wait till evening or come back tomorrow. Obina felt stressed and frustrated and left with anger. He thought in himself, while walking back to his dorm, how Nigeria was better than Turkey, if not for a bad leader. What would I be doing here? That night, he practiced his Turkish phrases again, rolling his R's, shaping his lips for the elusive I sound, and wondered if mastering the language will unshrink him in his eyes.
Okay, so this is chapter 3, talking about the hardship Obina is facing in Turkey. So this one is Turkish language, Türkçe biliyor musun? Where the Obina is trying to figure out how to get help, seek for help. So this talks about seeking for help from people that you could get help from. So at the same time, Obina was trying to do some documentation for his schooling, and also this is what we are all familiar with as a foreigner uh, studying in abroad. We all go through a lot of difficulty, documentation at the immigration, documentation with ID cards, school, enrollment form, and all sorts of uh, difficulty. This is what we go through in foreign land. So I know you will have similar experience of what Obina is passing through. So right away, I want us to use uh, this activity, go for this activity again. This activity is called Rose, Tom, and Bird. So in this activity, we'll all take reflection on the hop and dance we are all experiencing. So this activity will help us to ease our attention to focus mostly on the toughest moment of our weeks. It will help you to find a balance of noticing part of our days that are positive and hopeful, as well as acknowledging the part that are challenging. So using this mindfulness activity. So I want you to get a pen and draw this. You can draw it on a book, a sheet of paper that you can always ponder upon at your own leisure time. So the roles, they are the things that are positive moment of your days or weeks while they go, positive part of coming to abroad, what you felt. So write it under the roles. The thorns, they are the most challenging part of what you have faced in abroad. The difficult moment from your days, just as what has happened to Obina. So look at the difficult period of your time. You can write it down under the tongue. Just jot it down. The board, something you are looking forward to or are getting better at. Probably something you want to achieve, something you want to do in the next few months. So, and you know you can achieve. So those are the board. So look, start writing it down on a sheet of paper. I will give you 1 or 2 minutes or 3 minutes to journal it down, write it down, what you wish to achieve in the next 2 or 3 months to come while studying in abroad or living in abroad. There's no right or wrong answer. Take your time. Just look through it. Look at what Obina has passed through, trying to get through his documentation, trying to figure out how to be legal in foreign land, trying to figure out how to go about schooling, ID card, and the likes. So when you see Kimlik, Kimlik is a Turkish language for ID card. So that is what Ubina wanted to achieve. So is Ubina's board. Difficulty in getting ID card is the term for Ubina. So his board is just to get his ID card sorted and get legal as a student without getting deported or getting into trouble. So if you have done that, good job. Let's go to the next chapter of the section. So the next chapter is about chapter 4. School was easy, but the world was hard. This is the title of this chapter. So I want a volunteer to help with reading this loud for us to also go through the, uh, the story together. Do I have a volunteer? Okay, let me volunteer to read this chapter 4. So school was easy, but the world was hard. Obina became a shadow in his own story. Each lecture, a stage where his voice refused to hurt. Maraba felt foreign on his tongue, and when he tried to speak, words collapsed like frightened birds. There were Turkish expressions that made him chuckle and choke at once. Kolay, they will say, even if you are just breathing, geçmiş olsun, for a cold, a death, is thought to Vamai be staying from strangers as if they were ready to offer their lives, waiting for the Kimlik that didn't come. Each person weak reminded him that without his Kimlik, he was neither guest nor citizen. He couldn't open a bank account, couldn't legally rent long term, couldn't even get a proper SIM card. I feel like a ghost with Wi-Fi, he told himself, crossing his arms in the cold office lobby. He began to avoid asking questions, afraid of the accent that gave him away. He copied phrases into a little notebook and played Turkish YouTube videos at half speed. But the ID card never came. Bureaucracy was like a winding street in Istanbul, always turning, never arriving. Chapter 5. Obina in Diyarbakir. This is one of the cities in Turkey. After one semester of paperwork filing, form filling, and ID card hunting in Turkey, Obina had not expected a weekend to feel like a different country altogether. The moment his Turkish classmate invited him to Diyarbakir for his cousin's wedding, he hesitated. Just 2 nights, his friend had said. We will just visit Sub Giragosh Kilisesi, a Catholic church. Well, it used to be a church. It's a museum now. And true to his word, they did. The building was solemn, carved stones, and eggs full of untold stories. The historical places visited are Heil El Eleazar, Ver Zokov Mesalim, Ehil Kalesi, Dij Neri, Ulu Jami, Hassan Pasha Amin. Suleiman Tobesi, Sop Girahosh Kilisesi, Miriam Anna Suryani Kilisesi, Kenchi Buju. So these are the places, historical places visited by Obina with the help of his friend. So most places are historical places. The family house was a booth of curious affection. No one spoke English, but everyone spoke warm. The mother greeted him with steamy chai. Chai is a tea poured from a kettle that never seemed to run dry. The father, stern but inquisitive, appeared with questions one after the other, translated hurriedly by his son. How many siblings do you have? Is it true there is no water in Africa? What job does your father do? How old are you? These are the questions asked by the father of Obina's friend. Obina smiled at the awkwardness of it all, not offended, just overwhelmed. The mother, meanwhile, had prepared food, lamajun, pire, soft bread, pilau, and dishes he couldn't name or dare not refuse. Everyone sat in the living room, leg folded or crossed, eating together but also apart, plates rotating, teas refilling, conversation bursting. The sisters, lovely and delicate like Turkish ceramics, were hidden away after greeting, as though the family didn't want their presence to distract from hospitality. So this is the picture of Obina during the wedding and the food that was offered to Obina. At the wedding, it was as if Diabaka had erupted in celebration. Women in bright sequin gowns danced in alley circles. So alley is the name of the dance they offered in Turkey. So this men clapped to the beat of rapid fire drums. Obina felt every gaze settled on him, the black man in the building, because he's the only black person. People snapped photo, not maliciously, but with a sense of wonder, novelty. He smiled until his cheek ached, trying to read him he didn't know. Hands full of sweat and cups of tea. He watched the bride and groom spin with joy, and he thought of of wedding with jollof rice and talking drums, and felt not foreign but familiar. That night, Obina was really exhausted, lying on a makeshift mattress in his friend's room. Obina thought of how language, phrase, and gestures rescue, of how he had come expecting strength, bureaucracy, and formality, and instead found tea, bread, questions, and warmth. For the first time in months, he felt less like a visitor and more like someone brutally sent. So this is the picture of Obina at Ulujami, Diabaka. Ulujami is a mosque in Diabaka. So this is the story of what it feels like to visit another city in foreign land. So Obina was invited to enjoy the breeze of Turkey and enjoy another city while he was in another man's land. So let's also go into another activity. So this activity is called riding the wave. So I want you to just take a sheet of paper again, draw this wave. It doesn't have to be perfect like this. Just make sure you draw a wave like this. And on this wave, you will label the wave with things that cause you stress. For example, the worries and fears that has created this wave. So for Obina, the things that is creating waves for him is the ability to get a new ID card. So ability to be legal in the country. So for you, you might have passed through similar things, but you have overthrown it. So, but there are also waves that you are passing through right away. Probably it could be school fees. It could be meeting the expectation of the families. It could be fears or helping your family member that are passing through one or two things that you can't help it. So right away, I want you to write them down. So people that bring you calm, write it down at the downside or things that brings you joy. For Hobina, traveling to another city has brought joy to his face. And meeting people, visiting some historical places was Obina's uh, down part of the wave. You can see over the ocean. The ocean part is the one that is giving Obina's joy, the one that playing basketball. Your own might be playing basketball. Your own might be talking to friends. Your own might be reading storybook like this. Your own might be um, just playing game. So what gives you joy? For me, what gives me joy most times is playing with friends, playing pairs with friends, and playing musical instruments. So it's what gives me joy. So write your own at downside of the wave. So at the top side of the wave, write school, money, write difficulty from family, expectation from family, probably to get married or thereabout might be your own wave. So, okay. So I'll give you one more minute to do that. Okay. So if you've done that, we'll go to the uh, last part of the story of Obina returning to school. So can I have a volunteer to read the story? If not, I can still continue to read the story loud and clear. Okay, any volunteer? All right. In the absence of no volunteer, let me read. Obina returned to school on Monday around 6 a.m. Obina took a bus to return to school from there by car, a journey that took almost 3 hours, feeling like he had bravely touched something pure, something whole and sincere. A weekend of loud drums, whiling scared and shy, but smiling hospitality. But the sweetness evaporated the moment he stepped into the sterile chill of the international office. The woman behind the counter wore a hijab and a frown, and she tapped her keyboard like it had wronged her. You need to bring an authenticated copy of your WAEC result, she said, not looking at him. Original from the Ministry of Education in Nigeria. This is Obina and the woman. Obina blinked. He had submitted the scanned copy already 3 times. He opened his mouth to speak, but closed it again. Instead, he nodded. He walked out like a robber. His face neutral, but inside, his mind was stirring chaos. Outside, the cold wind scratched his face. His classmates were in class now, receiving lectures on multiculturalism in modern media. But here he was again, the immigrants juggling immigration papers and Kimlik ID demands like they were academic subjects. He remembered what Mohammed once wrote on a blog. You are not just who you are when you are in another country. You are what the country calls you. He was back to his dorm. He reached for the leftover bread from the abaka. Hard, thick, shaped like his mother's pastry. He bites into it with quiet fury. Then he picked up his phone to call home. No intranet. He waited, he paced. He finally called Tobe. Hello, Tobe. I need your help. Obina said, trying to sound casual. I want to authenticate my result at the Ministry of Education, and I would like you to help me send it via DHL. Tobe didn't miss a beat. Guy, I feel run am, but how much you go drop? You dey abroad now, just send me $100. Obina laughed a dry laugh. Tobe, I never start to dey earn in dollars, so I never even get permit to work sef. I go send 20,000 naira. Tobe chuckled. You be more than 20K naira sha. But now you be my guy. I go run am. Send me the soft copy sharp sharp. Relieved, Obina emailed the scan result. Tobe responded in under 10 minutes with a thumbs up emoji, and it was, I go ministry tomorrow. I do same for my cousin wey dey US last month. Obina slumped back on the bed, feeling the weight of the world shift just sliding off his chest. 10 days, that's what Tobe said it would take for the authenticated document to arrive. 10 more days of explaining to Professor why he was missing class. 10 more days of eating cold bread and rice cooked with the barest spice. 10 more days of trying not to look like what he was, tired, unsure, and carrying his country's red tape on his back. Still, he whispered to himself, one step closer. And for a moment, that was enough. 3 weeks after that anxious call to bed, a sealed DHL envelope arrived at Obino's door. He tore it open with trembling fingers. That it was scripts and authenticated the wild result that had taken him from frustration to near tears. With the document in hand, he returned to the immigration office. This time, the clerk was kinder, the process smoother. Within a week, his Kinley card, his legal resident ID was issued. It felt like receiving a passport to legitimacy, a subtle confirmation that it finally belonged. Just as he let out his first real sign of relief in minutes, Mohammed called. Obina, have you checked your result? It's out, already pasted at the department board. Obina's head skipped. He dashed out, his legs heavy, yet carried by hope. The sun was warm, but his hands were cold. He reached the bulletin board. Students were gathered around it, some smiling, some indifferent. He stared at the difference at the sheet, searched for his name. There it was. Obina checked his academic result. Two failed courses. The rest were barely above the pass mark. The world spun. He backed away from the ball slowly. The laughter and the chatter of others ringing like static in his ear. He sat under the corridor canopy, burying his face into his palm. His breath was shallow. He remembered his mother's voice over the phone just a week ago. My son, this abroad way you did. No forget, say na suffer, I suffer, sell all those yams to make sure you enter plane. A sacrifice burned in his chest like acid. He thought about all the sleepless nights without food, the cold morning walking to classes without winter jacket, and the countless hours lost chasing documents while his mates attended class. He felt the weight of failure descended on him. He muttered to himself, this is too much. I don't try. I don't really try. Obina, Mohammed voice snapped him out of the spiral. Obina, stand up. You are not alone in this. Let's go. Mohammed walked into the university counselor's office. The counselor, a kind-eyed woman in her 40s, offered tea. Tell me everything, she said softly. Obina hesitated. Then the Dan broke. He told her everything from the visa delay, the lecture he missed, the assignment he didn't even know existed, the stress of surviving in land where even his bread reminded him of home. I failed two courses and the one I passed, I don't even want to show my mother. His voice cracked. The counselor took notes. She didn't judge. Sometimes failure is not a failure, she said. It's just a language telling us something. Let's listen to it. Together, they traced the route. Late arrival, late lack of orientation, emotional exhaustion. She reached out to the course lecturer, advocating on Obina's behalf. Some were reluctant, but two agreed to offer remedial assignment and an alternate midterm. Week passed. Obinari submitted his work. He studied harder, now better guided. He checked his online portal one morning and saw his grade updated. In chapter 7, this is the last chapter. So before that, I want us to go into the last activity of today. So we call it gratitude tree. Gratitude tree. On this gratitude tree, I want you to just pay a little attention. So uh, bringing a little attention to what we are thankful for can help us to get out of negative pattern and thinking. It's not about pretending everything is good, but seeing the full range of our experience. So using these leaves of the tree, write down some things that you are grateful for each day. So on the leaf, you can write down, you can draw your own on a sheet of paper. So what you are grateful for, it could be a good friend, it could be opportunity you've uh, make use of, and it could be the job you got recently, it could be the parents you have, it could be your maybe you have many followers on your TikTok or your YouTube, Facebook channel, or social media. It could be probably your siblings are the source of your happiness. Sorry for the um break. So I was saying, let me share my screen again. So we are on this gratitude tree, and I want you to just go through this gratitude tree and start writing what you felt like you're thankful of, you are grateful for. It could be your food, good friend. It could be your uh, siblings. It could be your work or job, your new job. So just write anything you are grateful for. It's just 1 or 2 minutes before we call it a day. So the opportunities you currently have, I want you to write it on the leaf, just draw it on a sheet of paper. Okay. So now let's go to the end of the story of Obina in foreign land. So both failed courses now passed, and something else had changed too. In his time of stillness and waiting, Obina had applied for a virtual assistant job on the freelancing side. He had almost forgotten about it, but an email came through. You've been hired. The job was simple: scheduling, emails, and light transcription for a Canadian writer. The pay is just $15 per hour. It wasn't much, but it was his first income in dollars. For the first time in a long while, he didn't have to call home asking for money. He sent his mother a message yesterday. Mama, I go pay my fees myself. Tell Auntie Ngozi, say make it, she know what God did. He sat by the window of his dorm that night, sipping warm apple tea. Outside, the moon hung low over LRU. Inside, he felt tall, taller than the failure, taller than the loneliness. Obina was no longer surviving. He was rising. Obina still have a quiet taste, still meets shadow at time, but he has names for them now. Anxiety, fear, healing, and in naming them, he tames them. Speak at cultural night. Read his poem, read his poem aloud. He tells other international students, your pain is not foreign. It speaks all languages. You deserve it. You deserve to be heard. Not all scares feel, but some become maps. And Obina's journey is still unfolding, but is now guided not by delusion, but by recognition, by self-help, by family echoing across continents, and by the soft light of courage glowing in the dark. Thank you all for listening to this story. So the last activities for today, I will send to all participants. So thank you all for listening. So the last activity, I'll be sending it through email. It's a Google form, and I will appreciate if you can all fill the form. So it's Google form. You just have to fill it. So thank you all for participating in this workshop. So I hope you've been able to give one or two things. So, however, I also encourage you to use the self-help you've learned during this workshop. So, and also it remains one more workshop to go to carry out this research. So after this workshop, I would love to also invite you for the second part of this workshop tomorrow. If you have a free time, I'll be willing and I would love to see you. So this same time tomorrow. But if you have another plan, you can also reach out to me through email. I'll be looking forward to your help and to seeing your messages. If you also want to send what you have been able to write down, journal down to me, you are also welcome. You can do that. But if not, you can go through what you have journaled down. It's just to give you a sense of uh, uh, sense that we are doing it together. So I appreciate your coming today. So see you again tomorrow this same time. So by 2 o'clock Turkish time, and uh, by 12 o'clock, I think it's by 2 o'clock uh, Thailand time, and 10 o'clock Turkish time, we'll be having another edition. We are going to be using another intervention. Today we make use of storytelling. Tomorrow we'll be making use of information to guide us through the bibliotherapy session. Thank you all for listening. So I appreciate your coming. So see you tomorrow. Bye.